And I wished I would have done this a lot sooner. So if you are starting, and I know that funds may sometimes be a bit of an issue with people, however, if you're able to get yourself either a business coach or a marketing mentor, because they have really, really, helped me tremendously, and I couldn't have done it without them.
Hey everyone, this is Devin Miller here, and with another episode of The Inventive Journey. I'm your host, Devin Miller, the serial entrepreneur that's grown several startups into 7- and 8-figure businesses, as well as a founder and CEO of Miller IP Law, where he helps startups and small businesses with their patents and trademarks. You ever need help with yours, just go to strategymeeting.com, grab some time with us to chat, and we're always here to help. Today we have another great guest on the podcast, Sue Kennedy. And Sue is a quick introduction. So I went to school at a time when teachers weren't as positive, in her own words, and never necessarily had faith that she would amount to anything. She proved them wrong, but didn't go to, or so she didn't end up going to college or university, but rather went out straight out of high school and went and went out, started working, got a job, and to help support her mom and her family. And then did a few different jobs over the course of time, and then got married. Life broke down a bit, and again, in her own words, and had a divorce. I think lost a job, had a dog die. Kind of sounds almost like a country music song, but had a few things go wrong. At one point I was considering taking her life, but dog snapped her out of it, and out of those thoughts and her actions, and saved her, and wrote a book about depression and society, and that book's been published, and since then has published a few other books, and has really been writing stories to help other people, and also been working to help other people to write their stories and publish their own books, which is helping a lot of times business owners deal with different issues or different tragedies or traumatic experiences. So with that much as introduction, welcome on the podcast, Sue.
Thank you so much, Devin, for having me. I really appreciate it. It's great
Absolutely.
to be.
Excited to have you on and look forward to a great discussion. So with that, I did a quick walkthrough, or a 30-second version to a much longer journey. But maybe to back up just a little bit, tell us a little bit how your journey got started in high school with some maybe a little bit less than positive teachers.
Yes, it was very interesting. And I think a lot of people in my age bracket, I think, have gone through the same thing. Now, I don't know, maybe it was a thing that happened in other, years as well. But yeah, look, teachers back then were, instead of encouraging people, they would put a negative spin on it, which I thought was quite interesting. And I hear a lot of stories when I run, workshops, etc., talk to clients. They've gone through similar things where, they wanted to, write or do whatever that, they at school, and the teachers would say, well, no, that's not something that you can do. And they put me, what did they call me, like they said that I was like a troublemaker, because I wanted to enjoy myself at school, which why wouldn't you? I think it should be fun as well as educational. So yeah, I found that quite interesting, that the two things that I'm doing now are the things that they told me I couldn't do, which was art and English, so writing. So very interesting that, that's how I ended up. So, in the back of my mind, I was like saying, well, no, I'm going to prove you wrong. And that's that independence in me that says, no, I'm going to prove you wrong. And I have.
I think that there's a lot of that. Sometimes when you have adversity, or people that are naysayers, and there's that that reaction of, hey, I'll show you and I'll prove you wrong. And I think it sounds like kind of where it ultimately sets your course on your journey. But so with that kind of as the high school experience, it sounds like didn't necessarily go out and go to college or university, but decided or go directly into the working world, help family, help support your mom and whatnot, and also go that direction. So tell us a little bit about that journey and or after high school, where things took you.
Yeah, so my mum's marriage broke down, so there was just her and I. So I I didn't have the opportunity to continue on. I mean, I could have, but I found that there was more of a need for me to help mum financially. So that's why I just went straight into the workforce so that we could sort of support each other and so we can be there for each other. So, but that's okay. These things all happen for a reason. I truly believe that. And it's, made me the person I am today for that, for, being, giving me the strength and resilience that I've required with everything else that's gone on since then. So I think that it was a great pathway to where I am today.
So maybe just rewinding, and that definitely is insightful. As you were going out of high school, what were some of the jobs that you took prior? So I think you said you worked, solo or worked on your own, and then eventually got married, and we'll get into that part a little bit later. But what were some of those initial jobs that you did?
So the very first one, I actually sold newspapers on a main highway, and it was at 4 o'clock in the morning. And I would sell, the newspaper to the cars for the people that were driving to work, and they would be stopped at the lights, and then I would sell them newspapers. And then I got a job and I think you guys have got KFC, Kentucky Fried Chicken. Have you guys got that over there? Yeah.
We do.
So
it was actually, just as a complete short aside, Kentucky, I'm located in Utah, and Kentucky Fried Chicken was actually founded in Utah. So the first restaurant was here. So as a complete aside, other than you mentioned that we do, or if we had it, and we do have it over here.
Oh, there you go. That's awesome. So I didn't know that. So I've learned something. Thank you. But yeah, so that was it. That was my job after that. And then from there, I got into an office job, which was more suited to me than, working at a takeaway shop. And so then from there, I just, did different kinds of office jobs, and gradually, of course, as my experience grew, I got promoted and became managers and that kind of stuff. So, and then branched out. Well, the reason I branched out to them working for myself was I then got married, and then my ex-husband and I moved to a country town, and you pretty much had to either have to get a job, you had to either wait for someone to die or get pregnant. That was pretty much how that worked. So anyway, I did get a job, but then they closed. And so the next other thing that I could do was then, of course, start my own business, which I did. That sort of fell into my lap, which was really good. And from there, I just continued working for myself. So
makes sense. So you did those jobs, worked for yourself to help support the family, and did that out of high school. Now, if I remember in our previous discussions, you went at one point, you got married, got a dog, life was seeming to go well, and then as I said, kind of the old country song where everything kind of goes the opposite direction. But tell us a little bit about kind of that part of the journey, or how things took place.
So I got married. Yes, we had a lovely life. We had the opportunity, we were given the opportunity to buy into a hotel, which we did. And I remember saying to my husband at the time, now, is this something we want to do? Are you ready to work and be with me full time, 24/7? This could be the end of us. He's, no, it'll be fine. I'm like, I'm just letting you know that this could potentially be the end of us. And I was right. It ended up, everything went well, but anyway, having the hotel changed him in I think the worst, like in a bad way, not a, no negative way, not a positive way, where it actually did the opposite to me. It helped me with a lot of other things. So it was great. So anyway, the marriage, fell apart. Then my dog that I, absolutely adored. I mean, I love them all. But I lost her, and that was, huge tragedy. I mean, the marriage breakdown was hard enough. And then, being all alone, it was like, well, now what do I do? It's like, this is not good. And then I had a house, but I was just about to lose that to the bank. And at the 11th hour, someone purchased it. So I at least didn't lose. Well, I lost the house, of course, but I made enough money from the sale to pay for the legal fees, etc., and that was about it. So I was then in a position of really not having a job, or any income at all, or any money in the bank. So yeah, that wasn't easy. That was a very difficult part of my life. And I sort of just from there worked hard to try and get to where I am today, which I've, it's only sort of evolved. It took me probably a lot longer than I would have liked. It took probably 5 to 10 years before I could stand on my own 2 feet.
So now, and that's always, I think, a hard time. It's one thing to get hit with any one of those, but or life tends to come in, 2s or 3s, and things happen to happen. You go through a divorce, you lose the job, you have the dog that died, and kind of all hit you in the face. And so I know that you mentioned that at some point life was getting pretty low and contemplating taking your own life, but that you'd had your dog that snapped you out of it and kind of set you on a different course, and that's what led you to I think publishing some of the books and even the business that you're doing today of helping others. Is that right?
Correct. Yes. So because of the culmination of everything that happened, yes, I didn't realize that I was severely depressed. I really didn't. And I was contemplating suicide, and I had 2 dogs at the time, which I still have today. And they are old. One turned 16 next month. So, they're old, as the other's 15. So, but they were there and they could see that something was very, very wrong. And they were just sort of like around me. They were sort of sitting on my lap, trying to get my attention. Thank goodness they did, because they are what snapped me out of the thoughts that were going through my head. And I just thought, wow, I can't do this to you guys. So I need to sort of figure out a way to get out of this. And when I realized that it was, pardon me, depression that I was going through, I had to research it. I thought I need to research why this has happened and what it's all about. And this is why I potentially did it to help myself and to heal myself, which it did. And then I just started researching and writing about it. And I went, wow, wouldn't this be amazing if I actually turn this into a book? And then I can actually help others as well, which is what I did. I then just, figured out how to do all that, which, took quite a while, because when you don't know, it takes a lot longer. When you have someone that can show you the step-by-step, it's a lot easier. So I went through all that, and then, yes, published my very first book. And that was the most amazing feeling that, when I went to pick that book up at the post office, and there it was, with my name on the front of the book, and I just cried. It was just the most amazing feeling in the world, and that really, really cemented where I was going to go in the future. And really, I think that was the final sort of lid on my healing as far as the depression. It just, I haven't been depressed since, so, which is fantastic.
Well, that's awesome. And it's kind of, not, would never wish any of what had to go in order to lead up to that, but it's great that you found a way that to deal with the depression, to deal with the things that life have thrown at you, and turn it into a positive, as opposed to or leave it as a negative, which is definitely understandable how it would negatively impact you. But I think it's great that you found that course forward. And then so you started out publishing your own books. And how many books did you end up publishing, or have you published so far?
So for my own personal books, I've published 10, and with a few more under the wings at the moment, but I'm busy working, helping others. So mine is sort of on the back burner at the moment, but that's okay. I'm okay with that.
So, well, sounds like plenty, or you've already accomplished plenty, and who knows, there's still maybe another book out there. You just haven't don't know that's in your future yet. But the other thing that you I think mentioned when we chatted a bit before as well, is that not only had you taken the step of writing your own book and using that as a way to deal with life was thrown at you, and also to help other people, but then you also started a business, I think, where you're helping people to write and publish and do their own things with their own books, as a way to both deal with traumatic experiences sometimes, or also with business, or maybe business related, if I remember right. But maybe help us kind of how did you go from doing your own books to helping others with doing their books?
So what happened was, well, I was actually asked to teach a workshop in the city, and I thought, wow, this is really amazing. So I accepted, and then I said to myself, wouldn't it be really awesome to have some books to be able to sell at the back of the room? So I quickly, I had a few months, thank goodness, to prepare that. And I ended up writing 3 different kinds of books that were relatable to the workshop I was running. So anyway, what happened was people kept saying to me, oh my goodness, how are you doing this? Like, how are you writing all these amazing books? And I thought, oh, that's interesting. Maybe I should write a book about how to write a book. So I did that.
Mm.
And I thought, I can then turn that from that book, I can then turn that into more of a business model and help others. And so that's where that started from. And then I have run workshops, and I now do coaching, and it's helping people, business owners, as well as people that have been through, perhaps, unfortunate traumatic experiences, that would like to heal and share that story so they can also help others.
No, that's awesome. So now as you kind of turned that into the business, give us an idea, how many people have you helped, or how many clients? Is it early on, just started? Has it been going for a while and madly successful? Or kind of give us an idea as to, what is the kind of the current state of the business as you've worked to help other people?
So I've helped quite a few people, probably in the hundreds, to get published. I have just started doing webinars, so which is going really well, and that is to help people understand that the steps that the methods that I use to actually get a book published and written and published. So that's really exciting. And so it's about to sort of, I suppose, I'm about to go that next level, which is very exciting.
Well, that's and you took the next question out of my mouth, which was, what do you see? What's in store next for you, or kind of where do you see things headed? But it already sounds like you have that pretty well in hand. So, well, with that, now as we've kind of even reached the present day of your journey and looking a bit into the future, great time to transition to the 2 questions I always ask at the end of each episode. So we'll jump to those now. So the first question I always ask is, along your journey, what was the worst business decision you ever made, and what'd you learn from it?
Okay, so I've had a long, hard think about this question, and to me, it was not believing in myself and the fear of being seen. That was really, really difficult, because
Mm,
I just, you know, I just didn't have, it's that typical, everyone, I think most people have it, is that I'm not good enough. Why would anyone think that what I've got to say is of any use?
mm.
And, but I've actually learned from that I am good enough. And what I do have to share with others is of great benefit. And, seeing them actually accomplish, the writing of their story, and then all the amazing things that happen along the way, writing that story, whether that be to, for a business owner to attract more clients, to, or is it, the person that has now been able to get that horrible experience out of themselves and into a book, and have that, healing aspect to it, where, like very much like how I achieved mine. So, knowing that I can do that really makes me happy, really, really, and I'm so grateful that I'm able to do that.
Well, sounds like a good mistake to learn from, and a great one to move or to grow from. Second question now that I ask is, if you talk to someone that's just getting into a startup or a small business, what would be the one piece of advice you'd give them?
So I wished I would have done this a lot sooner. So if you are starting, and I know that funds may sometimes be a bit of an issue with people, however, if you're able to get yourself either a business coach or a marketing mentor, because they have really, really, helped me tremendously, and I couldn't have done it without them.
No, and I think that, it is a trade-off. And sometimes when you're getting started, one, you don't know that you need a coach, but even two, more so is that, you only have so much funds, you're juggling lots of balls, trying to get a lot of things going, and you're saying, do I really need a coach? And then maybe for the very first part, budgets really don't allow, you're bootstrapping. But I think that, to your point, there is a place for them as you go along your journey that can help you to, whether it's accelerate the business, avoid mistakes, if nothing else, lend a listening ear and give you some, feedback or a sounding board, depending, especially if you're so low, we're a very small business and just getting going. I think that's a great piece of advice. So,
Yeah.
well, awesome. Well, now as we wrap towards the end of the episode, if people want to reach out to you, they want to be a customer, they want to be a client, they want to be an employee, they want to be an investor, they want to be your next best friend, any or all of the above, what's the best way to reach out to you, contact you, find out more?
So they could email me, which probably maybe the easiest, or go to the website. So my email is sue@authoracademy.com.au, and the website is authoracademy.com.au.
Awesome. Well, I definitely encourage people to reach out, connect, and support a great business, and maybe even get some assistance in writing your own book. And so, with that, thank you again, Sue, for coming on. It's been a pleasure. Now, for all of you listeners who are out there, if you have your own journey to share and you'd like to be a guest on the podcast, we'd love to have you. So let's go to inventiveguest.com, apply to be on the show. A couple more things as listeners, make sure to click share, subscribe, and leave us a review so that we can help to share all of these awesome journeys with even more startups and small businesses to help them along their journey. And on that note, if you ever need help with your journey with any patents, trademarks, or copyrights, feel free to go to strategymeeting.com, grab some time with us to chat, and we're always here to help. Well, thank you again, Sue, and wish the next leg of your journey even better than the last.
Thank you so much, Devin. It's been an absolute pleasure.
Mine as well.